Welcome to Unfinished Business. My name is Matt. I'm joined by Taylor, Tyler, and Corey. And we're not forgetting again. We've got it this time.
Subscribe.
We've failed 3 episodes in a row, so Corey's going to help us out here. We have a great show planned. We're talking over a lot of new and interesting stuff. But first, last week we did kind of a 3-disc draft on how we would start our own company and what those discs would be. And most of us then completed 9 holes with those 3 discs, filmed them. Some are out, some are on their way out. So I wanted to kind of talk over them and figure out how those went and what we decided on that. Corey, why don't you start us out? I think you had the first video on it. How did your round go?
Like and subscribe. Yeah, so I had the Marvel, the Zombie, and the Era, and they're all in my bag already. So that it was kind of a cheat. But at the time, I mean, there were some shots that I couldn't do because I didn't have the right disc, but for the most part, really well. I shot +1. Whoa, bumped the camera. I shot +1, and the only reason I did is because I tried a trick shot on hole 9, and it failed miserably. So, yeah, but you should get those discs. They're really good.
I had fun watching the video. The double bogey, though, ouch.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah. That's when you're confident that you're going to make the putt because you're 12 feet and then you cage. And
you showcased the disc, too. Like, it wasn't like you were like, hey, I'm going to throw this disc because it's the best disc for this shot. Like, you showcased them all. So I felt guilty. Like, I needed to do the same. So I did that a couple times, too.
Yeah, great job, Corey. Video was awesome.
Who are we waiting for the videos?
I think Tyler has a video and pushed his out, and I think we'll get into some details on what happened to Matt.
R.I.P. All right, Taylor, what's yours then? Because you have the next posted video.
Yeah, so my video's out. I didn't break my camera, but I did forget to plug my microphone in. So I have a microphone on my hat ready to go that the receiver for is sitting in my pocket the entire video. So I did a lot of debating, like when I finished, like, do I try to just go again? Like, do I just redo it or am I just out of here? But I had a Swirly Esplin Scepter, so like kind of just a less overstable Firebird. I had a Clash Discs Mint, which incredibly underrated disc in my opinion. Is just like a glidier zone that's still super torque resistant, has some good finish to it. And then I had some Legacy Hunters to putt with. And Tyler, you just said that, and I realized I did not throw one of those one time. I just putted with them. So maybe I'm the real cheater. I shot 6 down, I think, but my 1, the course is easy, and 2, it is very conducive to hyzers. So I had overstable discs that were very good at hyzers, and I threw a lot of hyzers. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. Sad about the audio, but the video's out if you want to struggle through it. That's my bad.
That's the reason why. Your forehands were sick, dude. You were ripping those puppies.
Yeah. I was like, after I saw Corey's video and then you released yours, I was like, all right, well, I'm not beating 600, so I'm just going to showcase my discs then at this point.
Yeah, you guys should see my forehand from a year ago. The forehand has come a long way, so I was happy with that one.
Yeah, no, the video was great. Even if your mic was unplugged. Great video. All right, Tyler, you filmed yours, but it's not released yet, correct? How'd that go?
Yes, I have my editor working on 2 different videos right now, and I'll be working on a third that I can maybe hint at in a minute as well. So my 3 discs were...
You have an editor?
Oh, yeah.
It's big time.
You're not going run and gun like the rest of us.
No. I am using my phone. I got a little mic that I got from Amazon, and he's supposed to be working on it. If he doesn't, then I will, but he wants to work on it. So it is, I'll out him out. It's my cousin. He likes doing video editing. So I'm going to allow him to, if he wants to do it. Yeah. Or if not, then I'll do it. Yeah. It's totally cool.
All right.
So he messaged me. We used to do a podcast together, and he was like, I want to do some projects. And I said, all right, here's one if you want it. But anyways, so I had a Thunderbird. That was the, Nathan Queen, Disc Golf Pro Tour, one that came out or whatever. It's supposed to be Star Plastic, but it's a little more overstable, clearly. I have a Buzz SS Z Plastic, and I threw a Sensei, which is a 2402. So it's slightly overstable, but still glidey. I really like that for a third disc or a putter. It's still slightly overstable, and did pretty well. Showcased it. I think I only shot even par in the end. I had 2 bogeys, 2 birdies, and those will be coming up real soon. And
Corey's dying.
I think he's dead.
Sorry, I'm dying. Oh my god.
He's back.
dead.
Okay, he survived.
I got him. And so we the common theme though is that we all took shots at Matt, and that's the greatest thing that I could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Is that it was funny when Corey did it, and then Taylor did it, and then I was like, all right, when I hit a circle 2 putt, I'm definitely doing it. And I had a couple opportunities to do it, so I'm
In all honesty, I
excited.
don't know why I said it to begin with. I turned around, there was nothing in my brain to like say to the camera. First thing that came out of my mouth.
I mean,
Suck it, Matt.
be on the lookout for the t-shirts. Suck it, Matt, across the front.
Yes.
Oh heck no.
I will say though that I'll get to talk about my Ryder Cup in a minute, but I hit a circle 2 putt in my Ryder Cup, and I got excited and whatnot, and then about 20 seconds later, I just thought in my head, "Suck it, Matt." So it might be my new my new thing forever. Hit a circle 2, suck it, Matt.
Yep.
The worst part about this is the only comeback I potentially have is that I also am hitting circle 2 putts, but I'm putting with an ESP Luna, and it is so slick in this weather. And there was just no chance that was ever happening. Well, everyone else told you about their rounds. I filmed my round. Hole 1 went fine. I said like a T-Bird, like a Rock 3, and a Luna. That's what I said my discs were. I didn't
like those.
Yeah, I didn't have a Rock 3, which kind of stunk because I had a lot of overstable stuff. I didn't have a Rock 3, so I went with a brand new Lucid EMAC Truth, which is slightly less stable. It's like a 5502, but in that, brand new, it's like, okay, that's my most stable one I had. Hole 1 took a very easy par. It's like a 200-foot like straight shot. Hole 2, I typically throw a Firebird on flex down this like forehand gap. And I threw the T-Bird on flex, and I threw it really light because I was like, it's a T-Bird. It's not a Firebird. And I shanked it in the trees, walked over. As I walked over, I knocked my tripod over, very heavy tripod, knocked my phone out, cracked and broke my phone. So I got 4 throws into it, and 1 was terrible. So I am currently waiting on my replacement phone. If I had to guess, I typically, like at my course, my best score possible on 9 would be like 6 down. But I would most likely shoot like 2 down if I had my whole bag. So I bet I would probably shoot around even there. But most of those discs, like I bag a Truth, and I bag a T-Bird, and then I bag an Envy instead of a Luna, just because putting with the Envy is weird. So I didn't want to do that. So I'll film that maybe later when the new phone comes in.
On that bad boy.
There's going to be a case. There's going to be a screen protector.
When I heard about that, I was like, dude, we are saying suck it, Matt. Andy cracked his phone. Like, you went home crying. Like, mom, these kids are bullying me.
It was so, I looked at it, I was like, that crack's not going to do anything. And I don't really care. It's an iPhone SE. Like, it's not even a big deal. And then it was just deep enough the screen wouldn't turn on.
So sad.
So,
I had a similar thing. The first round that I filmed after I got my lav mic, which obviously plugs into the bottom of my phone, wind blew my tripod over, like barely just, I guess, hit the ground and bent it enough to where the lightning connector just broke straight off of it. It was like sick.
Wow.
Just returned it to Amazon though. Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah. I was so happy because my younger brother does like video production and like all this kind of stuff. And so he had a really nice tripod I borrowed. And I was like, wow, I've got a great tripod for this. It's got a level feature. This is going to be so nice. And I just, bro, can't level the phone that much.
It clapped.
Yeah. So unfortunate, but I'll get to it. I'm excited to get to it when I get a chance here. What about Tyler? We've heard about this a little bit. I think we're excited to hear about this. You were in a kind of tournament you and your friends set up this weekend. What was that? Tell us about that.
So I talked about it last week, so I won't go into the whole format in depth. I went back and relooked at that episode. I'm like, dude, I didn't need to go that in depth. My bad. So it was a Ryder Cup style. So we picked teams, and then we had 3 9-hole rounds. We had alternates on the front 9, we had a scramble on the back nine, and we went back to the front nine and played the short baskets, and those were singles matches. So it was a ton of fun, everything that lived up to the hype for it. We were the team to beat on paper. And so we were talking all this trash all last week, and we get to like Friday and we're like, we're going to win, right? We're like, there's no chance. Cause like, we had one guy in our group, he changed his username to Venmo me Fitty on there because we were playing for $50 each and whatnot. And so he had already like changed his name. So anyways, we get to the alternates, and me and another guy who's arguably the best player in the group get matched up together. We play against their best team on paper, we thought, for alternates. And he throws his first tee shot on hole one, smacks first available, which he never does. And I'm like, great. We take a 5 on the first hole of a par 3. Then I get up to my hole where it's a forehand shot, super easy for me. I smack first available and go left on that hole. We scramble that. But then we get to hole 3. This is the only time I'm only going to go in depth, but I have to like start this is how it started. And then we get to hole 3. He throws a tee shot, smacks some guardian trees, and it's only a 240 foot throw, but you throw it through a gap, which we've all done a million times. He just early released it, hits a tree, and so I have a little look to just lay it up, and then we take par and we move on. Instead, there's like a little tree on my left I just didn't think about, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna run this thing. And I did like a whole like jump and leaning, and I smacked the tree, kicks off to the right, and we take like a 4 there when we should have been a 3. And we literally looked at ourselves on a 4 and we're like, dude, can we stop being bad for like 1 second? Like, this is ridiculous. So we got it together, and we took a point, and then our team actually was up 2-0. We took both points in alternates. The sad part was that the other team was up a whole shot going into the last hole, and not only did they not tie, but they actually lost, and they lost 2 strokes on the last hole. And their arguably best player was in that grouping as well. So we're up 2-0, and we said, hey, if we're up 2-0, we're winning the whole thing. Going to scramble, me and another guy, our team captain, we planned on putting us together because we're like very solid players. We put our best with our worst on paper. They went out and they got the point. They played really well in a scramble. We played against their best team, their best player, and another guy who's pretty good. And we were down 2 for a long time in the last 2 holes. We were coming down the stretch. We got back within 1 on the last hole, and they had this awkward putt. They missed it, and so I needed to make this like 25, 30, it was like 30, 35 footer to get a half point against them, and I nailed it, and I did the whole like, come on, like scream, and I was super hype. And
suck it, Matt.
Yeah, suck it, Matt. That came into my head right after. But the funniest part, let me just finish the story. And then we went into singles. So our team is up 3.5 to a half point. All we need is 1 full point and we win. Long story short, we win 6-2 in total. We smoked them in the end, kind of. But their best player, he was leading going into the last hole on both his team points and lost. So he lost, or not lost, he lost 1 and he tied the other. So he lost 1.5 points. And so when it comes down to it, if he had just followed through and clutched up and just played that out and won, we would have had 4.5 points and they would have had 3.5 points. And all you need is 4.5 to win. So we would have snuck it by that much. But he faltered the last 2 holes. And then I played against him in singles, and my putting just went absolute berserk, and I made everything, and I won 2 up against him, and that's when like we all knew like, oh, it was just done, because their only hope was that we were the first group to go out, and they had to beat us, and it was not really close in the singles. So, but the funny part,
when you did the fist bump putt.
Do what?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. The funniest part was about the whole putting situation for me was I I went and played a practice round Friday with Mercies, and I putted with Lunas like the entire year, pretty much towards the end of the year. But the Mercies fly a little straighter, and it's also a softer plastic. I thought it'd be better when it's colder. Went to practice round Friday. It was terrible. So I went home, picked up my Lunas, practiced in the backyard for 10 minutes. And I said, all right, Lunas it is. Put them all in a stack by the front door. I got another stack of discs for if there was changing weather conditions, if I need to switch during the round, which came in really handy because I did. And so in the morning, I picked up the stack of discs that I put aside that were like the interchangeable ones, and I put them in the car, and then we went to the tournament. And so when I got to Stafford Woods, I looked in the back of the car and I was like, where are my Lunas? And I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't even bring my Mercies either because I took them out of the bag. At the very bottom of the stack, I had accidentally picked up my CT old Lunas that I hate, but I had to putt with those because that's all I had. And I do have a good memory with them. I did win the Delaware Amateur here with those, so I did have a good memory with them. In the end, though, it worked out perfectly, but I panicked like the first 9 holes. I was like, is this going to ruin our match? I didn't say a single word to anybody about how I screwed this up. But yeah, it was a good event. We won 6-2. There was a lot of smack talking going on afterwards, a day after, I would say, not immediately right after, but yeah. Good event. It was super fun. And I'm just going to say, I got my champagne right here that I enjoyed right after.
Absolutely. That has to be like top 5 worst pre-tournament feelings. Open your car like, oh, I don't have my putting. Not like a driver, like you've got stuff to cover. I don't have my putting putters.
The only good thing is that I went, well, I won an event with these putters before, so that's the only good thought I had. And when I got matched up with their best player in singles, because it's totally random, he saw me putt. I hit that big putt against him, and he was like, "You're gonna putt like that in singles?" And I was like, "You better believe it." And then at the end, I told him these aren't even the putters I normally putt with, and that just sent him over the edge.
Yeah. That's a win there. What don't you like? Is it the plastic you don't like of those Lunas, or what?
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like I like something a little bit more tacky, but I'm telling you right now, they're not coming out of the bag the rest of the year, and I have to have like a couple really bad rounds because they've been clutch in tournaments so far. So it's got to stay in the bag, and I hate that, but yeah.
What plastic is your Mercies in?
The zero medium.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very malleable, and yeah.
That's what I put my Pures with, so that makes sense. But yeah, no, that's sick. Vibes are definitely up there. That's the goal of disc golf is, smack talking some buddies while just dicing them up. So that's the goal there. However, those goals get a little distracted by disc golf politics and whatnot, and that's kind of what we're talking about today, I'd say. Is a lot of different disc golf politics. And the first one is something I called, I think on episode 1. Am I crazy on that? Was that episode
I think
1?
It was 2.
It was episode 2. And that is that Champions Cup got rescheduled. Everyone knew it was going to happen. Okay. The fact that we thought that we could destroy a great course and rebuild it in a year and then have it perform well is one of the most insane things I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, there is no scenario that was going to happen. I don't know. Everyone was like, yeah, maybe it'll happen. No, I don't know if you guys had different opinions on that, but I felt like there's no way that's going to happen.
My only opinion was like and subscribe.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely think the crazy thing too is, didn't they say in the announcement that the clearing of the woods that has to come out hasn't even started yet? So yeah, I mean, that's tough. I think hindsight, obviously, I think when they found out this needs to happen, it should have been rescheduled, moved to another course then, and not hold on to a dream that we can get this ready by the end of the year. So we'll get to a lot of topics on the moving and how it affects the tour schedule. But I think that's the biggest blunder in my mind is as soon as we heard that the course had to be changed, moved, anything, and it's in question for next year, we just got to get this concrete on the schedule at a course we know is quality and we can have it at, and then we'll think about, IDGC after.
Yeah, I think also when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, okay, good move, late June. at least they moved it before. Now we don't have late and whatnot. And that's all I thought about it. But as time would tell, it screwed up a lot of opinions. So
yeah. So the big deal is it happens to overlap a European event. It's on Northwood Black now. D-Glow is getting changed around as well, but it overlaps some European events and essentially says like you either go to Europe or you play Champions Cup, and there's one way or the other, and you're not doing both. And just this has caused a lot of conflict from quite a few players.
Yeah, so I'll let you know. So the European Tour under the PDGA, I'm sorry, I always say that wrong. Disc Golf Pro Tour, not the PDGA. The European side starts June 16th, right? And so I believe Champions Cup is going to be June 24th, I think, or something like that. 24 to 27, or maybe it's 23 to 24. But yeah, the European Tour is starting the week before Champions Cup. And so, as they report, it says Nicholas Antela and Vino Makala voiced their displeasure on Instagram as both players have planned to play in Europe for the Swedish Open and beyond, which the Swedish Open is going to be June 30th. So the other thing is that I'm sure they were thinking, oh, we'll start over in Europe and then we'll go play European Cup. And then we'll come back to the States and we'll play the States side and play all the tour and we'll play, everything to the end of the year. So now they have to make a decision is, do they come to the United States? Do they go back to Europe and then they come back to the States again? Or do they skip Champions Cup completely? And I think the biggest issue is Paul McBeth also, it says here and quoted on Ultiworld, Paul McBeth also suggested in a Facebook comment that he would be playing in Europe and skipping the Champions Cup. And that is a horrendous look for everybody in the pro disc golf world. I mean, Paul is the face of the MPO. And if he's saying he's not coming, it's just a bad look. And it's not just a bad look in the sense of like, he's not he's not playing in it, but it's also saying like I think it's devaluing the major of the Champions Cup. And if they want to have 4 majors that are evenly weighted, so they want to say, I think Paul McBeth is really saying here, there's only a couple majors that I truly care about in the Champions Cup because of the history of, or lack thereof. I don't really care about because he hasn't won that one yet. And I don't know if this sounds like he doesn't care to win it in the end.
Or maybe he's spiteful because he hasn't won it.
Yeah, true. Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so I think there could have been, I think this is like oversight. And then on top of that, oversight by the Pro Tour here, because I think oversight, they are obviously picking to not go through this. And like, they're like, oh, we're going to put it here, even though we know we only have a year to make this happen. And then oversight again, oh, look at this gap in the schedule. Why don't we throw something in there? And then guess what? Like now they're there, but I don't know, like what other courses is going to be at if it's not here.
Well, we're talking about Champions Cup.
Yeah. In this scenario,
it's just, well, I thought you were being specific. I was going to say, it doesn't even say Northwood's Black. Actually, I think I said that wrong before, but it's Northwood Park. So it could be the Blacks and it could be another course that they have there.
Yeah. I mean, this article says Champions Cup rescheduled to June on Northwood Black. So
okay, interesting. Before they just said Northwood Park. So that's interesting.
Tinker around with the layout again. I think the biggest concerns that I have, and I think these are coming to mind as we talk about it more, right? But think about how back heavy the season is, right? Like the tournaments that matter at the very end. Like, is there a world where we see Kristen, who has taken extended breaks to stay in Europe before, she can get Pro Tour points from the European tournaments now? Does she say, like, I'm not even going to come to the States until August at this point? So at that point, you're looking at Kristen, Paul not playing, Nicholas, obviously a contender. Like, it's going to be a pretty Mickey major if we have like such a lack of field there. So it's concerning for the Champions Cup for sure.
I think if you're is it the PDGA that's really behind the Champions Cup, or is it the ID, whatever they call themselves? Do you guys know?
Well, the PDGA, like they're headquartered at the IDGC.
Oh, that's what it's called. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I guess this is the PDGA involvement, really, and it does say PDGA considering another Champions Cup, as okay. So they're just bad, dude. They're a bad organization. I don't know what else to say. Like, how do you like keep screwing this up? Like, you can't make, you know how unprofessional it looks, and we're gonna talk about some like, what professionalism is. I think in later in some other topics here in a minute, but like, it's really like it's a bad look. Like, think about it if it was just like a regular like mass company or something like that, and they kept on changing the scheduling for something, and it would just irritate the life out of people. It just seems so unprofessional. It's like, why can't we make a sound decision in disc golf? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know. I think there needs to be a mix-up, or not a mix-up, but a shake-up with people.
Well,
and it really felt like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Corey.
There's definitely too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like for every major to have like a different organization that's running it.
Yeah.
It's not going to work like that. You have to have like one set group that says this one plays here at this time. Then we have a space. This one plays here at this time. If you have too many people like picking and choosing, then no one's going to get it right.
Yeah, I will say in ball golf, we do have a similar scenario where I think it's called RNA, which is over in Europe. They take care of the Open, and they're totally doing their own thing. So it is their major. US Open is the USGA who does the US Open. And then the PGA Championship is run by the PGA Nation of America, I think is what it's called, or PGA of America, I think is what that's called. And then Masters is its own thing as well. So there is like 4 different organizations that run those tournaments. But I agree in the sense that like we need to like maybe those like whoever is running these majors need to come together and say, hey, how do we all work together so that there's a sound base for the future of this is when tournaments are going to be, this is where they're going to be played at. So we don't conflict with one another and start making like knee-jerk reactions on what we need to be doing. It's I don't know. I can't talk about it too much because it just makes me so angry.
Well, one thing I noticed is none of those organizations that you said for golf are brands. So if you have a brand, if you have a manufacturer that's doing a major for us, not only is it not fair,
right,
in certain aspects, but they're not going to play ball if you say, okay, we have to remove your name to make it like as neutral as possible. They're going to be like, no.
So I just want to make sure that our viewers understand this. We're pretty much referencing Discmania with the European Open and Innova with the USDGC, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the disappointing part for me too is I think that entity that you're describing that like sets the schedule exists, and it's the Pro Tour. But like this is just another example of the Pro Tour knee-jerk reacting to something and putting out media and like setting things way before it's even very well thought out, in my opinion. Like we saw this a lot with the transgender issue, like the United Tour and all like the ebbs and flows of that last year. This is another situation where they're like Band-Aid fix, press in, put it out there, and then 2 weeks later they're like, oh crap, we screwed the European Tour now. So it's not super well thought out, and I feel like the Pro Tour has a consistent history of this stuff now.
Yeah, and I think we saw or put up somewhere online that like someone was like, look who the tournament director for this is. Nate Heinold. He doesn't want people going to the European Tour. Bro, he's not that smart on that level. That is not his goal. If I set the Champions Cup here, I know I'll need to reschedule it to like he's not doing that, bro. He just didn't think. Like this is just whoopsie daisy and then whoopsie daisy again. And then now our question is like, do they reschedule it or do they hold firm on where they've decided at?
I've seen that take too about Nate really quick. I just want to say there is not a lot of good tournament directors in disc golf, and that is a horrible job, a very thankless, like not great position to hold. So I disagree with, as much as Nate Heinold's takes and a lot as much as anybody else, but that is definitely not where my mind went straight to.
Yeah. I agree. So, my main question I was thinking about for this is with Paul Macbeth's statement and other people, like, when there's been this big discussion with Ulibarri and all these people about worlds and worlds not being as significant as, or we're trying to make all the majors equal. And I think until we get rid of worlds completely, worlds is just going to be the one that everyone wants to win. It's very, very obvious. So it's like, if worlds is the tournament to win, why even have majors to begin with, right? And if we want to talk about how, like, if we're, if disc golf, if people get mad that when I compare disc golf to ball golf, it's like, okay, if you want to be completely different, then let's just focus on what we do really good and what people care about. So my main question is should we just embrace a two major system in disc golf and just have USDGC and worlds, and maybe you can move on? I guess you would say get rid of European Open, even though there's some history there, but like, it seems like no one really cares too much about that one in the end, and who knows about Champions Cup. So do we move to just a two major system with USDGC and worlds?
I think we go 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think we go 3.
Keep European, and we have 3 seasons that we play disc golf. Those are the three majors, mask the 3 seasons, and then we're off for the winter.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that in the slightest. Because, like, what my question is, like, for the people who like Champions Cup and the people who are big fans of Champions Cup, like, why? Is it the course? What is it, or was it the course, I should say? Like, the old history? Like, what makes you enjoy Champions Cup so much? And my question is, if we change it to Northwoods Black, does it keep that?
I think yes, and I'll say I am a fan of having 4 majors, mainly due to avoid the situation that we see this year. And I think we're just at a crux of, like, very poor timing. The issue with the scheduling is that Worlds changes every year. Like, I like having Champions Cup, I like having a spring major, and I think I like having 4 majors. The wrench in that to balance the scheduling is that World moves. So, like, Worlds is not going to be at the same, time frame each year. I mean, I think obviously the sport is still growing, and we've seen majors come and grow. I've referenced Australian Open on this show before, which was a major. I think spacing wise, we need to have 4 majors. At least I would prefer to have important tournaments, throughout the year. It's just, we're really struggling in the scheduling department.
I have a really big hot take, and nobody likes to hear this, but I think we need to get rid of Worlds completely. I think it needs to be a completely different major. I don't know what exactly you would call it, because, Worlds used to be this tournament where everyone would come who plays all the time, right? And this is something that everyone has discussed this entire season, is that of this view of Worlds, because everyone would come to it, and nowadays all the best players are playing against each other all the time. So what really separates Worlds from any other major or from any other tournament? Pretty much, we're just going to slap on an extra day to it, pretty much. Is that the difference with Worlds? And we call it Worlds, so it makes our nerves get more nervy. I think you get rid of Worlds. I think you stick to 4 majors, and now they're all evenly based on the weighted of value of when you would want to win. Now, in ball golf, like, we have 4 different majors. We have the Masters, US Open, the PGA Tour Championship, and the Open. Players have different varying favorites of which ones they want to win. Usually it's Masters, US Open, or the Open, or the British Open, as it used to be called. And so I just think with having Worlds, it just degrades the other majors. Like, if you win European Cup, I don't think you're as excited. Like, I think there's a different tier level of Champions Cup and European Cup and USDGC and Worlds, right? Worlds is a different format. USDGC plays at this course. It's super difficult, where you have crazy scores and you have to play your best golf. And then European Cup has been played at this one course every single time, which is great over in Europe. And then Champions Cup are trying to establish this at this one course. It's just too much going on. I think it has to be discussed about what are we going to do with Worlds, or if we're going to have 4 majors, how do we make them evenly weighted?
Yeah.
I think the question for me too is,
I don't know.
I'll pose it as a question. Do you guys view the Pro Tour Championship as important as a major? Because I feel like in my mind I should, but I don't, right? Like, it's
I
at
don't
the
think I
same
do
course. It's the biggest payout. It's the most I mean, other than USDGC, which you have to qualify to get in, you have to, I mean, that's an even harder qualification in a lot of cases to make the Pro Tour Championship. It has so many of those things, but for some reason, to me too, I don't even know why. It just doesn't feel as important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say also in ball golf, there's another tournament called the Players Championship, which is seen as like the quote unquote fifth major, because they schedule everything around that as well. And it's the certain month and certain course they play it every year. And it's a great event. But also at the end of the year, they have like, it's very similar to disc golf. They have this like leading up, they call it a FedEx Cup and whatnot. And no one looks at that as a major, nowhere near it. But it is something that people want to win. And Jeff Spring has also said that they want to have their own major. And I think what he's tried to do is make it very elusive because of how much money they pay out, which is why they want to make it seem so important. But no, not for me. It's not a major.
Yeah, I would think I would agree with that. I do actually think USDGC probably ranks highest for me. Like if I had to like think about like which one I care about the most, that's probably that. But I'm much more of like when I'm viewing these, I'm much more of like what level are we at? You know, like where are we at level wise? And just like Vendor Village and all that kind of stuff is like just levels above everything else we have. And like I think that's why I view it so highly, not necessarily because of like another specific reason or something like that, but just at Vendor Village.
Corey, what do you think about getting rid of Worlds and just having 4 regular majors?
Like and subscribe.
I think that Worlds shouldn't be Worlds until it's in Europe. It's not. How's it Worlds and it's only ever been in the United States?
Yeah,
that's my question.
I honestly think we should do 3 majors. Do USDGC, European Open, and X. And then the finals, instead of having like the Pro Tour Championship, that should be Worlds. And it should be, I don't know, maybe top 20, top whatever number you want to call. And every single card is going to be filmed because these are the top players. And that way you can see everyone. You're not seeing just the lead card and chase card, but you're seeing every single one. And that's the way you can kind of bring in and say, like, do you want to see your favorite top tier player? Go for it. And yeah, we got to find that X because I don't think it's Champions Cup. Or
I
even
agree.
just take that away.
Yep. I really like the every card is filmed. That just like the idea of like,
I mean, it's Worlds. You should be able to see like everyone that's playing.
Yeah. Does anyone think we should get rid of Worlds as well? No. Yeah.
I could be in the middle.
We should keep the name because Worlds sounds the best, but we should definitely change it to be something better.
It would be interesting to see that kind of be taken over by the concept of a Pro Tour Championship kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the most important tournament of the year be the most exclusive tournament of the year, where like it's hardest to qualify.
I'm gonna write down everything that I like think we should all do this. Write down what your ideal season should look like, and we should compare them in maybe next episode or something like that. But we should definitely look and see, can we manipulate the layout to where like it'll actually make sense. We wouldn't have to change any kind of major. Well, we would change the majors, but then we would like make it make sense, not like next season. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I want to see what you guys would come up with too.
Yeah. I just went to Worlds this year and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. And I think it's really cool. I just don't like how if you go out and you win another major, it's just not as great as winning Worlds, but yet they're both majors. So I personally don't like that. Like if you're going to have a major, make them all even and make them all weighted great. But
I just think it's hard mentally. Like, so if we take away Worlds, like USDGC then becomes the most, I think it's hard to make them equal at this point. Like unless you're just completely starting over, it's for at least the population, the media, like just mentally, it's super hard to just make them all even like in everyone's brain.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I think you get rid of USDGC. Sorry. Yeah, you get rid of Worlds, you go USDGC. You get rid of USDGC, you go European Open. You know, like you'll just always step down the ladder unless they're all at the same time, or we give enough time for one of them to build history and class that you're like, okay, I like this, you know. But I think you either have to just nuke them all or just wait and hopefully build an amazing event to compete like in our heads. So
I like how USDGC you have to qualify for it. I think that's great, and I don't know why they don't like World should be like you should be seeking disc golfers from like various countries and bringing them in. The Masters in ball golf they do something similar where like they try to have a great variety of international players, and I don't know if Worlds really seeks out to try to have a good wide variety of international players. But the last thing I'll say about this topic is what are the two majors where there are disc how do I say this? I'll just come out and say it. The two majors that you get your name printed on a disc for is USDGC and Worlds. I know Eagle has a European Cup Open, or where they make some what do you say? Commemorative disc or whatever the case may be. But let's be real. I have an AVR X3 that has Jeremy Colling on it from 2017 still, you know. So those are the two tournaments that if you win, like you're forever goated with winning that tournament. No one's forever goading anybody for European Cup and Champions Cup, at least not yet.
I just thought of a really good idea for Worlds. They should rent out a cruise liner and
Let's
have
go.
it on the
Let's
ocean.
go. Yes.
Then it's not in anyone's country. It's just part of the world.
International waters. Heck yeah.
Put them in
Watch
the
out for
Bermuda
Doug.
Triangle.
Yes.
Bermuda
Maritime
Triangle
laws
though.
coming in.
All right, we'll think about this. If you've got questions or what are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments. Do you like a 2-major system? Do you like a 3-major system? I think I'm with Corey on this one at the moment, but Tyler's pretty convincing as well. But let us know. Get really mad at Tyler if you want to. I've been getting a lot of flack, so you know, easy W for me here.
Yes.
I've been putting a lot of takes that people don't like, so
Yeah, you're our Brody of takes that people hate in the moment.
with that. Totally
even,
cool with that.
even if they make sense. All right, so our next big thing we want to talk about, because most of us individually saw this, and then we came together and we all had most of us had similar opinions on this. So Simon Lizotte, if you didn't see, he recently attended a course design clinic. He mentioned it in one of his videos. I think he also just signed on to complete a course with Casey White this year. So he's doing a lot of course design stuff, and he started asking a ton of questions on his Instagram. And some of those questions I was responding to, and the public response was crazy.
Yeah.
Like just some insane responses. So I figured we'd go through them. I think Tyler and I probably agree on most of them, but I'm curious what Corey and Taylor think here. So the first question that we have highlighted here is Simon Lizotte asked, should the Pro Tour care more about playing the best courses or playing in the best locations?
Taylor.
Taylor, start. I know me and Tyler both agree on this one.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because ideally it's a mix of both, but if it has to be black and white, one or the other, I think it has to be in the best locations. Because unfortunately, a lot of times in disc golf, I mean, we saw it with what was the Blue Ridge Championships in Carolina last year. I mean, incredibly sick course, doesn't have the lodging to support the players, the spectators, parking, cell signal to film it. I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of a pro and con of how much the sport's grown, right? Like at this point, we require a lot from a location to deliver the experience that a Pro Tour event should deliver. So that unfortunately has more to do with the location, more so than like how sick the course is.
So I think we all agree that the only thing that matters is how good the music festival is near it. But in actuality, yeah, it's definitely location. But at the same time, if they want to play at these like best courses, they're gonna want to. We're too small to fork over money to like build lodging and build all of these things, especially when we're not actually playing in like, it's not like a golf course. It's not an ice arena, a football field. It's literally like a park out in the woods. Like, it would be different if they own the property. They can manipulate it to make the best course ever, but also it's their property, so they could change it however they want. Have lodging, have parking, have all of these amenities, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to say whichever one is closest to a good music festival is where we should be playing.
Wherever Kevin Jones can play out.
AJ USA.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. And here's a crazy thought. To be clear, we're not saying like just abandon all of the great courses, but here's a crazy thought. Do you want to grow and be able to build lodging at these places with amazing courses? Great. Play at courses where I can bring buddies and convince buddies to come over half an hour to see this cool sport that they don't know about and don't really care about. Like, and if I can bring those guys in, and 1 in 3 of them will drive the half hour or less because it's in a big city that we all live in, like, guess what? That turns around to maybe later we can be building lodging at places that have amazing courses and improving places that have amazing courses. But I think everyone agrees here, and Tyler probably has more to say on it, but it's got to be the best locations by far.
Question. What do you think the perfect amount of commute is to get to a course?
Like
to
the
attend or to
absolute,
play.
like the absolute range that.
Like what do you think is an
Like
acceptable amount of distance to travel if you're lodging in the vicinity but not actually like at the
It's
location?
like, how far outside a city would a course need to be to qualify, basically?
Yeah, because like I'm a half hour from Kensington, where D-Glow is, and that's where my house is. I know we have a lot of lodging like in my Metro Detroit area, but is a 30-minute drive worth it for people to like stay in a hotel near me? Or does it have to be like literally get out of the hotel, drive like 5 minutes down the road, and then be at the course? Like, what do you think the maximum is for it to be worth it to like show up?
For a pro tour event, correct?
Yeah.
I would say 45 minutes is appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, I aim more towards a half hour, but 45 minutes seems fine. But yeah, somewhere right around there works for me in my eyes.
Yeah.
Tyler, you also agree with us here? Location.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is just to kind of extend what Corey just said. We used to have a national tour event right down the street from me at Iron Hill, the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge. And when I would go to that event, I talked to a couple of guys, and they would travel from really far away, like Pittsburgh, and I think there was a couple guys from like Southern Virginia that would drive up, and they stayed in hotels overnight to stay at this event. So I think like people want to really go to these events, and they're willing to travel to places, places to stay at and whatnot. I think what we need to be doing is saying like, okay, what's the main goal here? Do we want to show off our athletes playing in these courses they've been playing at for a long time that are proven, or do we want to have more fan experience? Will people get the chance to come to the event to watch these people? I'm telling you right now, I really don't think anyone truly cares about the quality, like the pure quality of a course if they're going to see pros play. Like, there's a course down the street from me that was brand new. It's wide open. It's not like the nicest course, but it's like pretty well put together. There was a ton of people went and watched that skins match just because we got a chance to see the pros play. So we need to be saying, okay, what's the goal? If we're going to grow the game and we're going to get people to come and get hooked and watch pros play, like have some tournaments around high density disc golf areas. First off, I think should be on the map, right? We should be rewarding those areas, but also like, where do we want to expand the game and how can we market? Like, this is the person who's doing marketing for the Disc Golf Pro Tour should be like, like this is your job. Like, how can we be pushing the game and growing the game further in these areas? And like, they need to be ones saying, okay, let's go to, let's just say like San Antonio. It's a very highly populated place. Where's a disc golf course that we can play around this area and get people excited about going to this type of event? So I'm all for location, like, but we need to kind of have a good game plan about where we're going to be having these events with like places that love disc golf, and then also places that aren't hooked yet but are highly dense places like New York City, LA, Miami, St. Louis, you know, a couple of these other places. Those are just naming a couple of random places.
Yeah, one statement real quick to just kind of sum up my thoughts and opinions on this. I would drive an hour to like a local C tier level course to see Paul, Ezra, these guys play, right?
100% I would too.
Pro Tour caliber course an hour from me, probably going to go play it at some point. Not like a high priority for me. Like, cool, I'll go check it out when I have time, but not like, oh, I'm going to go see Paul play. Like, you know, one of those things. Like, I'm going to go see pros play. So I think at this point, either way, people will complain about the course, but the players themselves drive spectatorship more than the course does.
Also just want to put this out there to answer like the question Matt was putting out there. It says, should the Pro Tour care more about playing the best courses or playing the best locations? Matt, I don't know if you said this, but the poll had like 80% people saying playing the best courses. And I was floored.
I was so mad, dude.
But you got to think about it like this, though, is that all the people following Simon are like disc golfers that have been playing for years, I feel like. And so they're going to say, oh, I want to see the best courses. But they're not. I truly don't think the people who are voting were thinking about like the bigger picture of growing the game. So I'd be really curious to see about if they were to do a poll in a different way, how it would go.
Yeah, I agree. And I drive an hour and 45 minutes to play a normal course in my area, bro. I 100% agree with Taylor. I will drive, you know,
stop doing that.
Bro, I have like 4 around me. What is a brother supposed to do? But no, like, I think that's, no one's thinking that at all when they're doing this. Yeah, move might work there, but no one's thinking that at all when they're doing this. And so they're just like, oh yeah, but I think it's a no-brainer. If you take a second and actually think about it, I think it's a no-brainer. Like, but, you know, if you're one of those guys who's like, I don't care that we don't have cell reception at Northwood Black, I don't care. Like, I've been seeing whatever. If you're one of those people, like, you're going to be mad about it regardless. But
that's a crazy Chicago accent, by the way.
Yeah, it's just all mad people are hillbillies from my area. So
I have an idea.
That's where you get.
I have an idea. We should take, okay. I know Tyler said, like, it should be a location that's like kind of booming already, like a major city or something like that. What if we go opposite? What if we let the Pro Tour like purchase a giant area, and then they can build their own hotels, their own restaurants, their own course? I say let's donate all of Ohio.
I think you're describing Emporia, Kansas.
But I've driven through Ohio. It's a lot of nothing there. So like, just take the majority of Ohio. You can keep Columbus, Dayton, Cleveland. Those could be normal cities. The rest of it gets donated to the Pro Tour, and then we can create like this giant, basically what Eagles Crossings wanted to be.
Yeah.
But without the weird animal statues. And we'll just,
Can't tell if it's a jungle there or not.
I just want to donate Ohio. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Ohio.
Corey's put in his vote. We respect it. We'll take it here. This is not the only topic here that I think made Tyler and me so mad. It was just a lot of these were so skewed, and it was like no like real thought here. And I think I know like the extremes that each person who was like answering was thinking in their head. I just want
to say real quick, like I just feel like the marketing in, I don't want to generalize, but I'll say the marketing on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I'll just stay on them, is so bad. Like, I just feel like we could be doing so much better. Like, why aren't we getting bigger people, bigger names? Why aren't we letting people sponsor the tour titling of the tour, as other sports do. Like, there's so many ways to bring money into this sport. I just feel like we're getting left behind by pickleball, and I get it. There's tennis players that are involved with pickleball, but we got to do a better job of marketing disc golf, and just going to the same old courses and going to golf courses. That's not going to do it. Like Paul Macbeth has already said, I'm going over to Europe because I'm tired of playing in golf courses. And so our biggest, pony boy is Paul. So we should be talking with Paul and be like, hey, what can we do to market this better, and work with him to have him a part of what we're doing here, because we only have a couple more years, I think, of prime Paul, or maybe just Paul playing in general. So they got to do a better job. I'm disappointed, to be honest.
One issue I see with that is pickleball is literally just miniature tennis.
I know.
Golf is not anything similar to disc golf. So it's not like we could be like, oh, Tiger Woods, you should try this because it's fun. It's not going to happen like that. And honestly, until we get big enough to where, I hate to say it because I love playing disc golf for free, but when courses come out and it's pay to play and you can keep up with them, and it's property that is owned by a disc golfer, that's not just like, here, slide $1 in this little slit in this mailbox and go play. I'm talking like real, genuine, you're paying for the experience, then we're not going to have courses like that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but I want to get into these other ones because I think we have different takes on some of these other ones.
Okay, yeah. Let's go here. I was about to start talking about my local ski resort that has a disc golf course, and we'll talk about it another time. They're ratchet for that. But our next question, this is another one that Simon Lizotte posted, and I also saw some really skewed responses here. Should pro disc golfers dress like pro golfers?
Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get our quota so that we can the last couple.
We have to make up for the last 3 minutes.
We're definitely behind.
Yeah.
What do you think here?
Tyler, what's your take on this?
Tyler. I know. So I would say, my main focus is like the why factor. Like that's like me in general in life. Like why are trees? No, but so what does the pro disc golf tour want to do? What's the product they want? I think because you have this community, like we talked about episode 1, that has been around forever, and they're just a bunch of boys in the woods going out and doing their thing and enjoying life. And there's also this professionalism, and now we're colliding a little bit right now. So we're at a crossroads about what we want the tour to go to. I think there has to be some sort of professionalism that needs to be laid out. And I think they've done a good job of laying out the rules. Now, I will say that I'm not as far as going with Brody. All right, let me say this. Should we be dressing like pro golfers? I'm going to say yes if I have to go black and white. Okay. But I want to say the pants, I don't think it is necessary. I think there should be collared shirts involved. And I think there should be definitely dress codes in mind about things that you can and cannot have. We want to look very professional. I think also when we're talking about professionalism, this is a whole nother topic, but the caddying situation needs to stop with the girlfriend following the guy with the bib. I can't stand that. We can talk about that another time. But I'm all about making it professional looking and making it an actual professional sport pro tour look nice. So I think we're already doing that, though. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're actually absolutely right here. I think this is naturally solving itself. I don't necessarily think you need to have collared shirts, but the jerseys that people like Brody wear and other pros, I think that looks fine. It's a well-fitted jersey. A well-fitted pair of shorts. I think you've got people like Ezra that are going a little nicer, and sometimes that's fine too. But bro, don't show up in the stained t-shirt and beat up tennis shoes, bro. That's what you don't see as much these days. And I think the reason is because we're starting to have pros making more money. And so that's something they can be thinking about a little bit more. So and we're also having companies come in that do that, jersey companies and all those kind of things to make unique designs. But same deal. If it was black and white, I'm saying they shouldn't dress like that. But to be clear, I'm looking for an in between in my.
And also, Simon's poll had pro disc golfers should not dress like pro golfers. I think that was the majority was winning, was they didn't have to look like pro golfers. But anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I don't agree. I don't think we should. My main thing really comes down to more on like the marketing side. Like, the general demographic of golfers in my mind wants to look like a PGA golfer. I don't think the general demographic of disc golf players want to look like a PGA golfer, or I don't think it just fits in the same way. And I don't want, if we force pros to wear that, I think it ostracizes also a lot of disc golf companies from like pushing out merch or pushing out products, because obviously you want the pros to wear your products, wear, things that you can sell to the average disc golfer. And I don't think the average disc golfer is buying polos and slacks to wear out on a disc golf course. So it's a balancing act there. Should it look on the nicer end of that spectrum? I would love for it to, but I think, for the healthy balance of the marketing and growth of like the merch side, it still needs to stay more casual.
I would say that's a good point with selling the merch. My only pushback that you didn't really even say, but I'm just going to say this, is that like when I go out on a disc golf course and I'm playing for fun with guys, like there's no reason for me to wear a polo or anything like that. I just think for the pro tour, it should be a little bit more professional, but I get your point with the merch. I hear it.
Corey, do you agree, disagree? What are you thinking?
Black and white, no. I don't think we should be looking like golfers at all. The biggest thing for me is functionality. Golfers look like that because it was a gentleman's sport and they're barely moving. They are twisting their body like maybe 70 degrees, and then they're walking. You can do that in pants. You could do that in a polo, tucked in, very fit. That's not what we're doing. We're like actually moving. Unless you, if you want everyone to look like golfers, then we all have to throw standstill. And do you want to do that? Probably not, because we have like literal run-ups to get more distance. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say we should find something that is maybe our own. I don't think we've touched it yet. I think we're kind of like in that gray area still of like, we don't know what to do. But then also the reason I always wear a t-shirt when I'm playing. Dry fit shirts, I don't do well in. Like, it's just like my body is not made for a dry fit shirt ever since I was like a kid.
I'm allergic to them, so I feel you.
yeah. Like my armpits get rashes. I'm sweating in places I didn't know sweat. Like, it's really weird. So I'm going to wear a normal shirt anyway. Matt, don't look at me like that.
No, sorry. I have stuff turning on. I'm trying to shut them off.
Okay.
I agree. I'm the same. I don't look good in a dry fit shirt either.
You made that look as soon as I said that.
No, you're good. No, I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
No, I think we should keep looking for something that's going to make it the most reasonable and functional. Whether it's slapping like every logo on the planet on the front and back like a billboard, because that's kind of what like F1 drivers, if you look at their outfit, is literally covered head to toe in sponsors and brands and everything like that. I don't know if we have to get that far, but yeah, I definitely think golf is not the way we should be looking.
My big pushback is all the best players all wear polos, and they generally wear pants. Why do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard them explain why, but I would say because they want to look professional, they want to look good. I think there's tons of collared shirts and pants that are stretchy enough, that are very functional. When I played in a tournament, last year, I played in stretchy pants and it felt really good. And I like playing in pantsuit because I'm trying to protect myself from poison ivy. But I mean,
I'm saying like, you're saying they want to look professional.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they getting it from? Most likely golf. If you look at it, are you going to say that a hockey player in a jersey doesn't look professional? Because I beg to differ. Like that's their profession, and they're looking professional for that specific thing. I think we need to make something our own, so it's not like, oh, we look like golfers now because golf looks professional. We can look professional. We just have to make something.
Yeah, I mean, what looks nicer, a t-shirt or a polo? I don't know.
While someone's running up and throwing, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it really matters to me, but when they're walking and when they're moving, I mean, I just think
but we're not moving in the same way that golfers do. Golf, like I
100%
said,
agree. I understand that.
If you're watching a golfer, him and his caddy are walking so elegantly down like a flat, perfectly trimmed fairway. Yes, that looks professional. When you see people walking through the woods and then he grabs a disc and does this crazy form run up and throw it farther than we can, that looks professional to me. It doesn't matter what it matters what he's wearing, because like you said, you don't want like ripped pants and you don't want like a gross dingy shirt, but there's a difference between that and like the collarless jerseys that we're wearing already.
I don't know if there necessarily needs to be a rule saying that they have to wear collared shirts, but if I would prefer to watch somebody wearing like Eagles jersey or like Paul and what Ricky has worn, and I'm trying to make I can't think off the top of my head a couple other guys, but like I think it's great what Paul and Ricky wear with the collared shirts. I think it looks good. Not even like just regular collars, but like the mock one that comes up a little bit. I think even that looks good. But I mean, I'm not gonna fight to the death for it. But I prefer that look more than the other look. So
yeah, I think we should be throwing in tuxedos.
I think so.
It'd be an interesting tournament.
Commit.
Like just that's the world's designation. That's what makes worlds more better than the other tournaments. You
Everyone
have
has to
to show up in a
tuxedo.
suit.
Fitted, and if you mess it up, instant stroke penalty.
But that is something you have to learn and battle, especially in the time we're in right now in the wintertime, is what is just enough like hoodie or winter wear to where I can still functionally throw, but be just warm enough. That's something that I battle with too.
Yeah, no, that's true.
As long as I'm throwing one of these, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing, because it could be like 30 degrees and I'm still fine. I'm wearing a t-shirt because I'm throwing this.
That's false. You wear that hoodie every video.
Yeah, that is true.
That is.
Corey says this, but Corey's always wearing the jeans and hoodie, or the jeans and t-shirt. I respect
the hockey hoodie, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm wearing only the black one, I have a red and a blue one over there, but I haven't gotten my logos put on them yet, so I don't want to like wreck them before I get my my merchandise done.
No doubt. All right, I think we've all voiced our opinion here. There's more to talk about. I would be so amazed if we had a divided opinion on this next one. But this question, Simon Lizotte asked, I think it was a very reasonable question.
It's my favorite one.
The response was very reasonable. Should there be a limit on the amount of discs you may carry during a tournament?
I think yes, but
did not see that coming.
I did not see that coming either.
Yeah, I did not see that coming at all.
I think yes. I think there should be a limit, and I think it just has to do with like skill. If these pros are supposed to be like the best in the world, they shouldn't need 50 different drivers that do different things. They should be able to manipulate the discs that they are allowed to have. Same thing with, you can only carry 14 clubs in golf. And what is it, 3 sleeves of balls or something like that?
Oh, you can carry as many balls as you want.
It's just if
when you run out, you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah. So there's like, basically what I'm trying to say is there should be a specific limit. I mean, even if it's 30 is well more than like what the average player carries. I mean, I would say probably 18 to 24 is like a normal number for like any average disc golfer. I would say 30 is pushing it. But if we had a specific limit, it would make the pros think about their disc selection a lot more than just like having 10 destroyers that all do different things. So sorry, I was the one
Yeah, that's impressive. I did not expect that. I don't have a problem with it, but I think you threw us all for a loop there. I kind of thought in between that. Someone mentioned that, unlike ball golf, it's like your club and your ball are together.
Yeah.
And so for that, I could understand. But I do think, I don't know, I would be okay with either way. I think it's really funny. You see, like Jake Wolf recently did an in the bag, and he's the like overhand and like crazy forehand thrower, and he had like discs that needed to be stacked in certain ways so that like this one had to be pressed against this one specifically, so the dome didn't change, and then this one pressed with this one, and I think he had like 40 or 50 in there, and I was like, I saw that, and I was like, whoa, dog, I don't know if we need all that, brother.
Well, wasn't there a video recently where Ricky had like 2 separate carts that his caddy was like pulling?
Yeah, I saw something like that.
He's been going double cart.
So you'd rather see that than a limit?
No. I'm saying I'm fine with the limit, but like that, I don't know. It's just so crazy to even.
I want a strict limit.
Very strict limit.
I mean, no, it's not very strict. It's not like you can only have 10. I'm saying like 24 sounds good. I don't know why, but 24 sounds good.
Guys, I did it. I got Corey to get really serious. We fired him up last round. Now he's in this. I got him.
Tyler, do you agree with this? As a ball golf guy, do you agree with this limit that Corey's?
No, dude. Let people throw as much. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm definitely with the limit. I'm actually like stern on like make them throw only 20 discs max, including their putters that they putt with. Like keep it real limited. Like I did the math out, and like you can have like plenty of discs to cover whatever you want. And I think the biggest pushback I've heard about disc limiting is like, well, if I lose one, like I'll just lose that slot completely if I get limited. Well, just gonna have to game plan better then. And
you also just lost a disc.
Yeah, and you're a pro, so why are you losing a disc on the pro tour?
This is an interesting piece. Like this is what people talk about with this, but in your scenario, you're saying you lose one in the water or something. You not only probably do you have a stroke penalty, but you've now taken the L and lost a disc that may be essential to your game plan later. Like like big whoop, you lost your disc.
At least for that round.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that as well. Like, you could definitely change between rounds, but.
So I mean, I'm with Corey. Like I want to see these guys. Like if they're so good, they should be able to take any disc and do a lot of stuff with it, right? And I've seen Drew Gibson take one disc and do like some crazy skill stuff. He's on like a skill rant right now with on Twitter, talking about limiting certain things so we can see more skills. He was talking about like trying to remove more overstable disc, so people would have to learn touch and feel and whatnot with throwing disc. And yeah, I think we get to see a lot of skill, and I think that's what we miss from back in the day. With the flippy discs that people used to throw, used to get to see some really cool flights, and now it's just hyzer out, baby, and just let it rip. And I want to.
If you think about it, Tyler said 20 discs. If you do the whole like understable, neutral, overstable, that's still only 12 discs. You'd have 3 drivers, 3 fairway, 3 mids, 3 putters, and then your putters. That's 14.
Right.
You should be able to get through a course like that. And then you have 6 kind of like mystery discs that you could add wherever you want.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I try to aim for myself, because I also want to, I mean, personally, it's just limiting my decision making is what I try to do. But yeah, these pros need to get it together. Like when I see someone pull up in a cart at a tournament and they have this whole thing of disc, and then they have a pouch with like 5 more disc, and then up on the handle they have like 2 more disc. It's like, bro, I'm going to see you throw like 6 discs today, and I'm going to see you throw like the other like 34. So it's, I don't know.
There's a guy that plays my local course that has a cart, and when he opens it, it's just a cooler and 4 discs.
That's amazing. I love that.
All right, I'm so glad I'm last year, because I got a zesty one. I got a hot take for you guys. I completely disagree, and here's why. So in golf, there's the club limit.
Corey,
like and subscribe.
Were we on debate night when we had this question?
I think so.
I think you and I were on debate night because you and I I think we had conflicting opinions about this.
So here's why. Tiger Woods' income is not based on a signature 3-iron. If we limit discs, that limits possibilities for player expression, And I think what that does, I mean, it's getting better now that there's a lot more relevant companies. But if you're on Team Discraft, you're lying to yourself if everybody doesn't want a signature zone, buzz, force. Like, the player expression comes from, like, I need to make this disc look good on camera and sell it because my name's on it, which is an unfortunate spot to be in. But I think that's a huge part of the game right now. Go ahead, Corey. Yes.
How many people have a signature zone that's actually Discraft, not a like a stamp from
that is true, like, and that's changing a lot over the current years. Yeah, but
well, technically there's probably two, because Paul Macbeth has his name on like every Discraft disc.
Everything ever.
But there's
5 times.
There's only one other person, and I think right now it's Adam.
Brody.
Zone OS.
Zone OS.
Get freaky.
Brody has to
Too.
get freaky. That's like, I think that was created because his original contract was like, he gets X amount of discs because he was like a famous Dude Perfect guy. But outside of that, I'm saying like the zone, one person gets. Every year they get to pick like a disc. So I think you could still get away with that.
I'm not opposed to Corey's argument if the statement is made that we're talking about a potential future in which most people on tour are earning a living, like just from their own contracts. You know, like I agree with Taylor's argument in the current moment. Absolutely. And I think that's actually something I didn't even think about until you mentioned it. I agree with Corey's argument in the scenario that most people are making a living just off their contracts. And then there's tournament winnings on top of that, which I think we're in the middle of right now.
Taylor,
I
I
was
going to say, Taylor, did you finish your point?
Yeah, for the most, I just think that the player's financial compensation coming from the product throws a wrinkle in that. Where like there needs to be, because if you limit, even if we say a pretty large limit like 24, I think that puts a lot more pressure on you as a player to prioritize discs in your bag that can cover more slots and less player expression. Where if your compensation comes from the product, like, is Garrett Gerthy really having like 6 Sonics in his bag if he's limited to a certain amount of discs in his bag? Whereas, you know, that's a big part of his brand identity in my mind.
He might actually be lost.
He really might. But I just think the compensation being tied to the product in the way it is now throws a wrinkle in trying to limit what product you can carry.
Yeah, but as like a casual player, you don't have to limit your bag. It would just be tournament.
No. I think Taylor is saying in this scenario, if I am a Discraft pro, I want to make sure my name is on something like the Passion, because I could throw the Passion on Heiser, Anheuser, or straight. If my name is on something like the Venom, like I don't want to have multiple Venoms, so I don't want to have an overstable Venom and a beat up Venom. I want to have one. So in that one choice, Passion reigns supreme over Venom because it's an overstable fairway and I can only use it for certain shots unless I'm AB and I'm just using it all the time.
Wait, you said the Passion is an overstable fairway?
No. I'm saying the Passion is a straight fairway you can do more shots with than the Venom as an overstable driver. So I want my name on the Passion because it's easier for me to use it in tournament play and use my own disc.
That would be the same as like, I want my name on a 7-iron because drivers like that. That doesn't make any sense to me because like it's 2 different slots.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not going to if I'm a pro and I only have 16 discs, I'm probably not carrying like, or we'll take Brody for instance. I'm probably not carrying a Zone OS. But then how am I going to sell a Zone OS if I'm not even carrying it in my bag? Like, I know I can do the steps, but if I can pop out my in the bag and say, Zone OS, I use this all the time. Brody doesn't use it all the time. Probably not. So, like, he's not going to waste one of his tournament slots on his Zone OS. That's his signature disc.
You're looking at it as, like, how it is now.
Yeah.
Where they're probably giving people discs just because they want to sell that disc, and having a name on it is easier to sell than just a blank disc.
No, I to be clear, I'm agree. I'm saying in the current world, I understand where Taylor's point comes in, and I think that makes sense. In the future world, your point could certainly make sense, but we have to grow a little bit more before I think we can make that transition.
So Taylor, I want to make sure I got this correctly. So your point is really coming down to it's limiting people from buying discs from signature players.
It's more just like coming from the side of a signature player. I think it's more just highlighting it's an unfortunate part of the game right now that I, as a pro disc golfer, need to think about what's in my bag based on how that benefits me compensation-wise versus how those discs benefit me on the course.
So yours is purely like you're just thinking about the financial side for pro players. We're more thinking on the side of like we
Just
want
as
to
a
see
piece,
some.
I don't think not a lot of people thought about previously.
No, I did not think about it at
Yeah.
all.
I think you said that on debate night. I was ready for. I was kind of thinking like you might say something about. I want to see like the pros, like, you know, a big thing that they've been talking about is like the Simon I was like, do we really need to make disc golf be harder, or should we just embrace low scoring, you know, disc golf? But I want to see like pros like have to throw skill shots, throw shots that they have to manipulate the disc. I think if we limit their disc, we get to see that a little bit more. I might be wrong, but I want to see them do some cool things with some discs that like, you know, Eagle, I think, is more likely to do that. I think also like it's definitely possible to be really successful and have a small amount of discs. I think Gannon only carries like 17. So, and he's called people out. He's like, if you can't win with 17 discs, then you're just not good. And I was like, whoa. So, I mean, he has called people out for having like a million discs. He doesn't understand it.
Yeah, no, but yeah, once again, I think we're thinking of it from different views. Like Tyler and Corey are thinking of it from like your future view, like where that compensation doesn't necessarily matter. It'd be nice, but it doesn't have to. And only your top earners are going to get their name on the passion or something like that. And Taylor's kind of on that right now skew, you know, where if players were making a little more, it would make like you could immediately push towards Tyler and Corey, but you're kind of in that in between there. Which in my head, I'm kind of in between both of you guys here because I
have another question. When's the last time you bought a disc because of a pro's name on it, as opposed to like you wanted that disc already?
The
Get Freaky
Corey
Zone
composite era.
Get Freaky.
Get Freaky Zone. Never threw a zone before. Saw it had Brody's name on it. Bought it. Drew Gibson, Finish Line Discs. Bought his discs because it was Drew Gibson.
Well, that's his brand. But I'm saying,
yeah, but I'm saying like that's the only reason I subscribe. I was like, I like Drew Gibson. I will now subscribe to this.
So what is your favorite disc to throw?
Probably like I would say a River.
Okay. Are you gonna go out and buy a River with a specific name on it, or are you just gonna buy a River?
I'm gonna buy with a specific name on it, probably.
Why?
Because I like the player.
Which player?
Whatever, like if it's a player that has a River.
Okay, what if you don't like that pro? You're not gonna buy the River?
It's probably whatever has the best price on it then.
Exactly. So it doesn't actually matter as a consumer. Like, yes, sometimes it does, but like if you had a Zeus or an Onyx without Paul Macbeth's name on it, still gonna sell.
Is it though? Is it though? If Brody says,
I'm not gonna know because that disc does not exist without Paul Macbeth's name on it.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could opt that in for like anything. The Lizotte went crazy, bro. There was hexes out there before.
Only 2, maybe 3 players have that effect. It's going to be Simon, it's going to be Paul, and we might throw Ricky in there because when Ricky started doing the slammer and all that kind of stuff, like some people started buying that, but that's the only disc I'm thinking of that like is Ricky's disc that people would want to buy. Like he also has like an Enforcer, the Felon, I guess, too, but like I don't think about any of that. So I'm like, all right, what's the cheapest available option that I can get if I lose as well? And that's the disc I want to buy.
It makes sense. All right, let's not spend too much time on here. Tell us if we're crazy in the comments, please. Tell us if you think we are just out of our minds here, because we could be, but I don't know. I'm in agreement with everyone here. The last question is the one that I legitimately have no opinion on, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on because I am so confused by the question. Not Paul Macbeth. Goodness, Simon Lizotte asked. Paul Macbeth. Simon Lizotte asked, instead of making OB an instant stroke penalty, the player gets the option to rethrow without a penalty or play normal OB rules. Do you think that's something we should add or not add?
This one confuses me more than anything. This one confuses because you can abandon a throw. You just take the stroke penalty. So I guess this is just getting rid of the additional penalty for abandoning a throw.
Yeah, abandon a throw, but no stroke penalty.
So like this is the big difference for me. It's like, okay, you're in the middle of the fairway and you throw a shot into the water. All right. Do you take the stroke? And let's say you throw it out.
You have to re-tee.
No. Let's say
You're
you throw
in the middle of the fairway, you throw it in the water, you have to go all the way back and re-tee.
Yeah. Let's say you throw it in the water like 100 feet away from the basket, right? So do you take the stroke and drop there, or do you say, I can rethrow this, and if I get closer, it's one stroke less? I think
do you want the advancement or do you want the stroke, basically?
And I think that's their thought process. Is like, okay, like you can give a little bit of like risk reward opportunity. Like, okay, I know I didn't throw a good shot. I know I can throw a good shot. If I put this in circle one and make the putt, I'll make up the stroke. Or if I'm not, confident about where I am, I just take the drop, take the pitch up, and then tap in. Like there would be one more stroke. So I think this is when this rule would really come into effect, is that kind of scenario as well.
Do you guys here's my question. Do you guys see this is a potential use of the rule? Okay. I'm a pro. I can throw 500. There's a 550 slightly downhill wooded par 4. I know that I can get myself an eagle chance or I go out of bounds, and there's no in between. Do I rip my first shot? If it's an eagle, I keep it. If I go out of bounds, I just rip again and know I'm always making a par. Like, is that not inevitable to start happening because of that?
Yeah, that's what my mind went straight to with like putting, right? If you have a death putt that's looking at out of bounds, do you just like, it could make putting more exciting, right? Do you just send the putt and like worst case, I just get to do it again, right? Like, and then you don't have to take the out of bounds stroke. And I don't know about you guys, my second putt's goated. Like I never miss the second putt.
Yeah, never miss a second putt, bro.
Second player is always a better player. Yeah, I mean,
I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like this either. To be clear, I don't like this. Is kind of a weird one.
This is too much like a video game where you can hit a button and go back to like your start point.
Yeah, I loaded my Skate 3 character before the putt, so I can just replay to that one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. When I first got into disc golf, I actually thought that was the rules in disc golf, where if you went OB and you wanted to, but this is why actually on disc golf or Disc Valley, the app, the game, it has the option to rethrow, and I was like, oh, I can just rethrow and not take the penalty, but obviously I take the stroke for the throw that I already threw. So like I was doing that, and then I was like seeing my score. I'm like, this isn't adding up correctly. But I thought that's originally how you played it, is if you went OB, you had the option of rethrowing and not taking the penalty stroke, and that except for what you threw. So
I would say this should be something that like a TD can add to specific holes. Like if it is an island hole, go for it. Just throw as many as you want off of this, but I don't want it to be like everywhere. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the island hole makes it. I think the island hole that
just
would
have
make
it play
it more
like
appealing.
17 at USDGC. Basically, like every Highland is just like rip it till you make it. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe so. This is Tyler. Do you remember like the skewed yes versus no on this one?
I have a picture of it. Let me look.
Oh, I looked for the picture.
While you're looking, I also want to say that I think they need to change up how OB and hazard work in certain scenarios.
Okay.
Like, what does that look for?
Nothing. I wasn't expecting the result. I just saw the. Sorry, but go ahead. I like your take. Keep going. I like this take. I think.
So especially for like sand traps, I think a sand trap should be take the distance, maybe take a stroke, stand still from there. You have to dig your feet and you can't run up or anything like that. I think that would make it a lot more interesting and a lot more, I mean, it doesn't have to be sand. It just has to be like specific hazard areas. You have to stand still because then it would show certain skill, and you could put hazard like that anywhere.
I've heard too of tournaments doing like hazard OB, where the hazard penalty is the disc has to be upside down at some point in its flight, whether it be like tomahawk, thumb, or roller, like just something that's a little out there. That's a little zesty, but
I know, yeah, but I know a lot of people are gonna say like that's gimmicky, but like own the fact that you have to do a specific thing off of certain types of hazard. You can even have areas where you don't get a stroke or anything, but you have to do a standstill from that shot.
I actually thought that if you were in the rough, you had to do a standstill when I first got in the disc golf.
Do you have like really tall grass?
Yes.
You might have to.
I mean, that's
Yes,
the
I
closest
do.
we'll get to like the skill expression of ground play in ball golf, right? Of like different lies contributing. That's the closest we'll ever get to that, just because obviously we don't interact with the terrain in that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't be opposed to that. In my area, if you're in the rough, you are in literally 4 foot tall grass, and you could not run up if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's like insane. There's a local course that, like, I'm not kidding. It's like a 3 foot wide fairway, and it's 4 foot tall grass over the side of a mountain. I went and found 4 discs and lost 8 in one round.
I have another one, but this is very gimmicky. Did you guys ever play Wii Golf?
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah, brother.
Remember that hole where you could either hit it into the fairway or there was that island, and like if you miss the island, you're screwed. But if you made it, you're basically like a stroke early. What if they had areas where if you land within this, we'll say hazard, but it's just a marked area, there's another tee box that you get to like go up to afterwards.
I love
so
it.
basically you're throwing and you're either going OB or you're landing in this marked area, and you get to go throw from like 150 foot tee pad that you
It's
would
like
only
the anti-drop zone, like the beneficial drop zone.
Yes, it's you get to move up. I think that would be so cool. Especially, I think we need, like, I know we have what's the first event of the year? It's always something
Las Vegas.
Like, well, don't we have like
The All-Star Challenge?
All-Star Challenge. Yeah.
Yes, the All-Star Challenge needs to change to be something that's like more fun. Like things like this.
Bro, people would think that's so gimmicky, but like, can you imagine the hype of like Paul Macbeth, hole 18 World Championships? He's going for the boost shot straight to like the drop zone. It's like this wild 650.
But like,
That would
think
be
about
so
it. It could be a huge par 5, or if you make it onto this one platform off of the tee, you get to go up to 150 feet. And
How many people would do it though? That's my question. The reason why I'm asking is because my first thought is literally at Vegas they have like the 300-foot par 4 where it's the island, or you can go
like
for it.
Island,
yeah. I just wonder if like I'm thinking about people going for the island. I wonder how many people will go for that spot. I wish they would, but
Yeah, this is my scenario. Once again, this is a present talk versus future talk. Future talk, it doesn't matter if you're doing second place or you're doing 10th place, but you want second because you want to make a second place. You're down 2 strokes, par 5. You hit Corey's turbo boost. You pop. You have like a chance to make an eagle now, right?
Yeah.
Or throw it in from 150 feet for a 3-stroke swing and just clap on this hole, and like imagine how sick that would be. You either pop to a second place or you're just
I'm not gonna lie, you started
50.
saying this and I hated it, but now I love it. Like I want this next season.
This is what I'm saying. It's gimmicky. I actually agree with the same. It's a gimmicky until someone you like pulls it off and it's sick, and then you're like, I'm down for this. Like that's the difference there. Like you're like, oh, it's gimmicky, whatever, and then like Simon Lizotte pops off and pulls that one on you, and like yeah.
And honestly, like I'm thinking about Vegas, the last hole where it's like it's flat and then it's got that hard diagonal. Like that kind of is like that in a way. Like there's not like an obvious island there, but like if you're really trying to like put yourself in a good position, you throw to that spot. That's a tighter spot to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, it could
What
go
about
back to a
green?
course design thing. Like even, okay, we take out the actual like boost pad part of it, but if there's better risk reward in course design where it's like, this shot could pay off huge, but it's really hard. And I just think course design might not be to that level of like those routes aren't there. Like that's not something we have currently.
How do you feel about this gimmick? C1 is hazard. So it's either you're making a good putt.
Andrew Marweed's
you're
off the
getting
tour. Andrew Marweed's done.
Just saying. Or maybe like the bullseye is grass, hazard C1 outside of bullseye, and then C2.
That is
So
a
you're
take
either-
on making putting harder that I have not heard yet.
I've not heard that one, but
I thought about it because of that sand green at
USHGC.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what if you had it to where it was cut and it was like a donut of sand? So you're either pinning it, or you're laying up to C2, and then hopefully making the putt and staying in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just so we get this on record here.
Like and subscribe.
Dang it! I was about to do that, and you ruined it for me. Okay. So, let me add a little bit more information to this that Simon had. He said, so if your tee shot goes OB 60 feet from the basket, you can choose to re-tee or take it 60 feet from the basket, throwing 3. Okay, kind of like what I described anyways. Yeah, so I did that like subconsciously. So the voting came in that they say, yes, this is a good rule change. 58% think it's a good rule change if they were to give people the option.
yeah, I knew that one was closer. I knew it was the closest of the bunch, but I didn't know what it was.
All right, so let me give you the percentages of each one. So the first question about disc golf location or places, 84% said course is important. Should disc golf pros dress like pro golfers? 67% said no. Should there be a limit on the amount of disc you carry? This one was probably the closest. 54% said no. So it's pretty close. And then the last one was 58% says, yes, it's a good rule change if they were to change it. We can get to this another time, but I love to talk about the different OB, lateral, water hazard, because in ball golf, we have them established, and in golf, it's completely different, or disc golf is completely different. And I think we need to have more stroke and distance OBs like there are in ball golf. I think that'll make people really think about going the hyzer route a lot more, which I'm really sick of people taking.
Yeah. No, we can absolutely talk about that. To wrap it up here, if you agreed with us or disagreed with us, I know the bad part about Simon's thing is it's a yes or no question. You have the perfect opportunity in the comments to give us something other than the black and white here. So feel free to. We will probably argue back with you in the comments if that's the case. Gentlemen, any last thoughts?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Next time you're out there and you hit a C2 putt, suck it, Matt.
Oh, that's so all right.
And I'll say one more thing also. Again, be on the lookout for our Instagram giveaway that will be coming out very soon. We're trying to get that together this week, so be on the lookout. We'll have some instructions for that either next episode or on our Instagram page, so be on the lookout for that.
Yep. Join us next time where Corey tells us about his new tournament, the Corey Classic, where he implements all of the rules. Boost pads, hazard in C1, limited disc count, and we will all drive over to Corey to play it, and it will be on.
I'm gonna write down all my ideas.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. All right, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Feel free to check us out on Instagram at Unfinished Business. Their pod, I believe it is. Check out the guys' videos on their 3-disc rounds. Those are pretty fun, and me and Tyler will hopefully have something coming soon. Like, subscribe. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Peace.
Okay, bye.